Susan, let's talk a little bit about Paul Ryan coming out with this book where it now turns out he was very strongly against shutting down the government. He didn't say much about it at the time when Republicans did that, but I suppose he is laying the groundwork to run for president. If it works out, he'll do it, but he's taking the first early steps. I think he's far from making that decision, though, wouldn't you?
You know, Bob, I have a slightly different impression. I went to Janesville to interview him about his book about 10 days ago, and I got the impression that he is somebody we haven't seen in town for a long time, and that is a legislator. He's taking over the House Ways and Means Committee in the new Congress. He wants to do a big tax overhaul. He wants to deal with entitlements, and I got the impression that kind of in the tradition of Jack Kemp, he cares as much about instituting the policy as he does about getting the position. Now, that's not to say he wouldn't like to be president or he won't try to run for president, but he's just 44 years old now. I really got the impression he might just focus on Congress. And how long has it been since we've had somebody who actually wants to pass legislation in Congress?
Well, and being the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is where all tax bills originate in the Congress, is no small chairmanship. That is probably the most powerful post, I would say, on Capitol Hill once you get past the leadership, the speaker, and so forth.
You know, we used to call it the powerful House Ways and Means Committee, and we've stopped calling it that because so little gets done on Capitol Hill now. But we saw Paul Ryan and Patty Murray, the Democratic chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, make a deal on the budget in just a couple months ago. So maybe there's some possibility for seeing something happening on the Hill that puts to shame the last couple years when everything's been gridlocked.
And you know, the other part, talking about Paul Ryan and whether or not he's going to run, this little joint appearance he made with Mitt Romney the other day, where he said, well, he sort of teased him about whether he was going to run again. I, in the back of my mind, think if things break right and Republicans can't kind of figure out where they want to go, Mitt Romney might be the nominee again. Nobody has told me that, but again, this just keeps popping up.
You know, I interviewed Mitt Romney's wife after the election, and I asked her if he might run again, thinking she would say, never again, we will never do that. She did not rule it out. I think it's possible that you could, you know, people who run for president often find they kind of like it and want to run again and again. We saw that even with some like George McGovern and others who, even after they've been defeated, want to run again. So I agree. I think it is possible to see a scenario where Mitt Romney runs again, could even once again be the Republican nominee.
All right, Susan Page, thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll be right back with a preview of a new memorial in Washington, so stay with us.